Hello, welcome back to another one of my prediction videos. This weekend, the UFC is in Baku in Azerbaijan. Pretty good overall card, I would say. Some good matchups. I'm just going to touch briefly on some of the ones some of the fights I think are going to be a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more interesting matchups. And yeah, like I said, this card's pretty good. There's quite a few I do like, but just a few that I've picked off the top here. So the first fight I do like the look of, and I think will be a very entertaining fight. Good even matchup. Two big middleweights. Andre Puliev at 6'4", 28 years old, 78-inch reach, versus Nursultan Black Rozibov, 6'5", 32 years old, and a 76-inch reach. I'm going to go with Nursultan in this one just because of his experience. He's had 36 fights, only 9 losses, compared to Andre Puliev, 10 fights, 4 losses. And he hasn't done that well in the UFC as far, Puliev. I know he's still early in his career. He's only 28 years old. He's still got time to turn it around. He does have the makings of a good fighter, I reckon, in my opinion. He has looked pretty good in a few fights. But I think Nursultan's looked better. His record looks better. His only loss is coming to Joaquin Buckley, who he lost to at welterweight, which is amazing. I believe it was at welterweight. I don't know how Nursultan ever made it to welterweight. That is beyond me. 6'5" welterweight is just crazy. Got some good KOs on his record. Hasn't knocked out the best guys. He's still getting built up. Still got a long way to go. And I think this fight is going to be a pretty even affair. I think it will be electric. There'll be lots of even trades, very technical striking. I think Nursultan definitely has an edge with the grappling, and he could probably threaten to do takedowns. I'm not sure he's going to. I think it's more likely just going to be a kickboxing matchup. And Andre Puliev, don't get me wrong, I think he's a great points fighter. He's got a good style. I just don't think he has enough power to really hurt Nursultan. I think he'll eat everything he's got cleanly, unless he eats a big walloping head kick. But I think he's going to take everything, walk through it, and land the better shots. I don't see him knocking Andre out. It's certainly possible, but I think more likely I'm going to go with Nursultan Rozibov by points in that matchup, guys. And yeah, excited to watch that fight. Two big middleweights making a name for themselves. All right, on to the next one. A little bit later on in the night. A fight that caught my eye purely for the, I guess, for the difficulty to choose a winner here. Two interesting fighters in this one. A very even matchup, I believe. This will be interesting to watch. Abus Magomedov versus Mikhail Olaseychuk. Always been a pretty big fan of Mikhail Olaseychuk. I liked his style. I think he goes about it in a good way. Polish dude, so you know he's tough. And then he went and joined the Fighting Nerds, so he's gotten experience and a bit of Brazilian sort of grittiness in him. So I think that was a good choice. Abus, I've never been a massive fan of Abus. I do like his style, and I think he's got a great frame for fighting, like a big, tall, lanky guy like that. I think, especially at middleweight, I think he's got a good build. But he hasn't had the greatest success, and now he's 35. He's getting a little bit older. I don't think, it's probably going how he planned, I think would be the right phrase. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Olaseychuk in this one, who's a little bit of an underdog. It's a pretty even money fight. Abus has looked good. Like I said, he's got a good frame for it. He's got good length. I really thought he would have done better, personally. He's got the reach. 78-inch reach. So he's got a 4-inch reach advantage over Mikhail. But I don't think that's going to matter. I don't think he takes shots very well anymore. He doesn't really have the pressure of a grappling sort of advantage or a takedown game. So I don't think Mikhail's got that to be worried about. I know he did submit Joe Pfeiffer in his lost to Joe Pfeiffer by submission. And I think every fight I've seen, he's always wanting to be standing and, a bit of a points fighting sort of style again, I'd say. But he throws with a little bit more more intent to do harm. I think he clashes in there a little bit, and he can land good shots. But I think Olasechuk, he looks a bit tougher. I think he's developed better in his game. His record, in my opinion, looks better. He has fought probably a few less names. There's no Joe Pfeiffer's on there, but he has. Oh, they've both fought fairly good guys, I think, over their time. But I just like I like Olasechuk a bit more. And like I said, this is always a pretty tough fight to pick, I reckon, just for the sheer evenness of the matchup. I'm going to go Olasechuk. I think that left hook to the body, or the body work that he does, that's always been a big standout in my opinion watching him. And I think Abus Magomedov's ribs are going to be sitting there ready for a fucking crack. And so I'm not going to be surprised if Mikhail Olasechuk rips a couple of hard body shots, drops him in round 2, gets a finish, quick stoppage, the ref pulls him off. I think the biggest factor in this fight for me is probably the age now, 35. Don't get me wrong, I think Abus still getting better. I think he's still a good fighter. But I think the pressure from Olasechuk on the fence, I think that's where this fight's going to play out. And then, like I said, big body shots from Olasechuk. Nice cracking liver shot. Drop him, curl him up, couple of hammer fists on the ground and pound. Get this fight over and done with. So, round 2 knockout I'm going to go with in that fight. Very interested to see how that plays out. All right, on to another very interesting matchup. I'm a little bit surprised with the odds makers for this fight. Bruno Ferreira versus Ikram Aliskerov. So I'm a pretty big fan of Bruno Ferreira. Throws big winging punches, looks for the knockouts. They call him the Hulk for a reason. He's a massive dude. Another big middleweight matchup here. Coming off his loss to Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. It was a pretty brutal knockout. I don't think he was, severely knocked out. So that's the one highlight, because I know he is making a pretty quick turnaround here. That was in March. So hopefully no signs of any detrimental effects from that fight, sort of, taking it out of him. I do like Bruno Ferreira, but I'm amazed that the odds makers have him as a $3 underdog. That's quite surprising to me. Anyway, Ikram Aliskerov, he's been pretty good. His only loss coming to Robert Whittaker by KO. So there's no shame in that. He has won a couple fights by KO. Andre Muniz, it's not great. Beat Jung Yong Park by decision, unanimous decision. So 2 pretty entertaining guys. I am going to lean towards Bruno Ferreira in this one. I know, the odds makers don't really give him much chance here, but I think he can do it. I know, Ikram's a bit taller, bit bigger reach, but I think Bruno Ferreira's got the power certainly on his side. Ikram's certainly got a good record. Only 17 wins, 2 losses is a pretty solid record. Hasn't fought, like I said, that many guys in UFC. He's only had the 5 fights in UFC. So Bruno's faced more opponents. Certainly faced a bit tougher competition. I don't think his record really tells the full story, Bruno. I think he just goes on and puts on entertaining fights, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm picking him, because I do like his style. I think Ikram's a bit safer fighter, but I think Bruno can beat him in most areas. I think the power side of things, probably, Ikram's probably going to look to sort of point fight sort of style with him, and I think Bruno just needs to charge through that. Hopefully his chin's all right. Like I said, he's recovered well. He's ready to go, and I think he will be. I think he'll take the shots clean, and I think he'll probably try and knock him out. But I think coming off a loss, he will play it safe. I think Bruno's going to look to wrestle, and I wouldn't be surprised if he holds Ikram down for a bit, and does some work with the ground and pound, and wins a probably a unanimous decision. I'm leaning towards. Little bit of an underdog there, so I wouldn't wouldn't throw all my money on it, but I can see Bruno winning this fight just with his pressure. I think he's gonna eat the shots from Ikram very well. Alaskerov's gonna be busy moving on the outside, trying to land solid kicks and footwork's gonna be on point, sliding around the ring. And then I think Bruno's just going to charge him on the fence, get him on the fence, hold him in the clinch for a little bit, do a little bit on the clinch, and then hopefully get the double leg and secure him on the ground. So I think, for middleweight, you can't go past the size of the Hulk. Bruno is a massive, massive guy. The only guy that looks bigger than him, I think, is Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. So, yeah, hope he's all good. Hope he gets the win. But yeah, I'm not super confident in that pick. But I am going to take him. I'm going to throw him in my parlay. So let's go, Bruno. Get that dub. All right, without further ado, straight on to the co-main event of the evening. A great matchup here again. And, virtually identical in every category, these fighters. Michel Pereira versus Sharaputdin Magomedov. Magomedov, he's got a pretty good record. Only loss coming from Michael Venom Page. That was in February last year. So he's a bloody solid fighter. 16 wins, 1 loss on his record. Michel Pereira, 32 wins, 14 losses, and has faced some good talent in the UFC. Has fought more people. Has won quite a few times. KOs, submissions, decisions. He's done a lot. Always liked his style, Michel Pereira. I think he's a very entertaining fighter. Got a little bit unlucky, in his first few fights there, where it was seemed to be doing a lot more acrobats. Sort of got a bit tired and got pretty unlucky. The Travis Connolly fight comes to mind. That he had that in the bag and he went crazy. Anyway, I think he's coming off. He lost 3 fights recently, and now he bounced back from that against Zachary Reese with a decision in February this year. So I think he's cleaned his act up. I think he's got his energy management issues under control now. So I don't think we're going to quite see as many crazy explosive moments from him, especially in the acrobatic department. I do hope we see a little bit of a vintage Michel, and I hope he does some wild fucking shit like he used to, just to throw something different out there for the night. Magomedov, you know what you're going to get. He's going to be technical kickboxing, Muay Thai sort of style fighter. I think he's going to look to land solid shots, cleaner shots than Michel can handle. I think he'll handle them, but I think Michel will be wearing the damage quite clearly in this fight. I think he's going to have to take some punishment. I do like Michel Pereira for a takedown here. I think he could take this fight to the ground and threaten submissions, but more just go for control time on the ground. That could be a good path to victory in this fight. I like to think he's got a good blasting double leg, and I don't think we haven't seen Magomedov getting taken down a great deal, but I think that is probably a good path to victory for him. Whether he does it or not is a whole nother thing. So the odds makers have sort of discredited Michel Pereira here, I reckon. They've got him as quite a sizable underdog. I'm really surprised by that. I think he's going to make it a closer fight than they're predicting for sure. And especially with the everything in this fight is identical. The reach, the height. There's virtually nothing to separate these guys. Both 32 years of age, so they're both in their prime. The only thing is the record, but I don't think he's fought that great of people. Magomedov has got some good wins, and he has, like I said, the record speaks for itself. He's only lost to MVP, but I think Michel Pereira has just thrown himself out there a little bit more. I think, he had trouble at welterweight. He was a massive welterweight, but now middleweight, I think he's probably a little bit better for it. And I think he's still coming into his own. I think I feel like Magomedov sort of reached his peak, whereas Michel Pereira still has a few more fucking hills to climb, and the energy management being one of those. And I think when he gets that under control and his cardio's there, I think he can be a very hard fighter to stop. I think him blitzing in at you and landing punches on crazy angles is enough to throw anybody off on a good night. So I'm gonna go with Michel Pereira here as another underdog. I just like his style. I am a bit of a fan for the Brazilian fighters, and especially a bit more of a lively sort of fighter like Michel Pereira. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the distance. I think the takedowns will play a part in this fight, and I think Magomedov's not really going to be able to have much of an answer for it. I think he's going to try and time it and try and stop it, but I think, I think Michel Pereira, like I said, when he's blitzing in, throwing some crazy fucking spinning back kick or whatever the fuck he does, hopefully he dives at some point for a leg and just secures it on the ground and wins rounds just with control time and ground and pound just to damage. Maybe even threaten for a rear naked, but I think just try and control him, hold him down and drop some elbows. And I think that is a path to victory that I can see for Michel Pereira. Whether he does it or not and makes it just a kickboxing fight, I think he could still win that, but I think technically, Magomedov's got the advantage with the stand up with the Muay Thai background and everything. I think that'll be a good fight, and I think Magomedov probably will win the first round, and that's when it's going to be wake up time for Michel Pereira. All right, we got to try something different, mix a game plan up. So anyway, that's my advice to him. Hopefully he fucking takes it. All right, on to the main event. Hell of a matchup, this one. Lightweight, Manuel Torres versus Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev's 33 years old, a little bit shorter, a little bit less reach. Manuel Torres, 31 years old, so a bit younger. I'm having trouble picking a winner in this one too, guys. It's a pretty even money fight, according to the bookmakers. Everybody sort of knows Fiziev. He had a big rise to sort of the top echelons of the division there. He's ranked 11, so that's something to hang your hat on. Manuel Torres ranked 15. Rafael Fiziev's coming off a loss to Mauricio Rufy. No shame in that. That was a good fight. That was in February this year, so he has had a little bit of time off. Nothing crazy. Before that, he beat Bahamundes in a decision. So Bahamundes is a great young prospect, in my opinion. A very tall, rangy sort of fighter. Can see similarities between him and Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres is obviously a little bit shorter. And then, we got Gaethje, Gamrot, Gaethje again. So, what a run in the UFC Fiziev's had. No easy fucking pickings for this bloke. Love your style too. Just a fucking energizer bunny when it comes to the punching and the kicking. Non-fucking stop. All fight that fucking Fiziev goes for. So I love to watch him. Hope he keeps that. Hope he brings that same sort of style. Very overwhelming pressure. Manuel Torres. He most recently beat Grant Dawson late last year by a round 1 knockout. That was quite impressive. Clean punch. Beat Drew Dober before that in round 1. So he's had a couple of quick nights at the office. He did lose to Bahamundes. So that's saying something. That's surprising there. So looking at the records, you can't go past the difference in experience here. The level of fighters that Fiziev has had to face, as opposed to Manuel Torres here, is just night and day to me. He's had looks at Gaethje and some of the real high level fighters. The most noticeable guy, I think, Manuel Torres has fought would be Grant Dawson. So I'm going to lean towards Fiziev just for the fact that he has faced the top guys in the division and, hasn't embarrassed himself. He's been stopped and stuff, but he's always given it a hell of a go. Going a decision with Gaethje twice is no easy walk in the park, as we've seen. I think he's I like his style with the high output on the numbers, kicks and punches. I think a takedown wouldn't hurt, but I think he's safe in this fight. I don't see Manuel Torres going to the ground at all. I think he might try and threaten a takedown once he sees what he's in there with, the fucking hurricane. I'm going to go with Fiziev, guys. I reckon Fiziev gets it done. I I can see him stopping Manuel, I reckon. I think Manuel's not going to be able to withstand the punishment for 5 rounds. So I think, probably round 2, I'm going to go for Zeev. After a fucking goes through a meat grinder in round 1, they're both landing. I think Manuel Torres is going to sit there on the stool, or when they get off the stool for the start of round 2, I think he's going to say that Fiziev isn't going to change one bit. He's going to come out same style, same meat, just fucking meet you in the middle and go fucking nuts. So I think that's going to deter Manuel Torres. He's going to try and go through the game plan. What do I do? All right, I'll try and take him down. That's not going to work. I'll try and counter punch. That's not going to work. I'll try and point fight. I'll try and scoot along the fence and just give myself a minute here. And I think Fiziev's going to be on him like a fly on shit, non-stop, just trying to land shots, huge body kicks, slapping fucking head kicks. So I'm going to go for Fiziev in this one. I'm going to go with him round 2 KO in a barn burner of a fight, and I think he's going to get back to some of the top division guys again, and probably stumble at the final hurdle. But good luck to both guys. Hope it's a very entertaining fight. Hope everyone enjoys. Let me know in the comments if you think there's any fights that I should have mentioned here. I think there's a couple of noticeable ones that I skipped over, but just the ones I like in this one. I think it's exciting times for the middleweight division. Azerbaijan putting on quite a show for us, guys. So hope you all enjoy.